The data shows that 60% of Gen Z wants to get into classic cars. That's more than double that of boomers. But why are car shows and some race events empty? I found the answer, and it's dividing the hobby in two. 20 years ago, $1,500 cars that could actually be driven were plentiful. These same cars, like my El Camino or my $900 Regal, they're few and far between. That same car today costs $5,000 to $7,000. Now, I know, we've had more programs and economic downturn turmoil signs and we can shake a stick at, but there's a lot more that goes into it than just that. And we've also seen Chevettes, stone stock Chevettes, go for $30,000 in the last year. Which begs the question, what the heck is going on with these prices? When I turned 16, got my license, and really started driving my El Camino, I started going to cruise-ins with my dad. He had a beautiful 1965 Buick Riviera. I had my El Camino. It was a fun thing to do, but we quickly found that the car show scene, you drive in, you park, you look around for an hour, and you're done. Nothing's going on except for guys sitting in lawn chairs, and that was 20 years ago. We quickly found that it was a lot more fun to get out there and actually use our cars. Both me and my dad got into drag racing, specifically bracket racing, and we'll get more into that in a minute because bracket racing doesn't typically draw a crowd. But why? So very early on, I started favoring going to events that actually had something going on the side that people were using these cool cars, as opposed to just sitting there static in a parking lot. But what's going on? The automotive aftermarket is clearly healthy. We've got restoration parts and resto-mod, hot rod parts coming out of our ears left and right. SEMA attendance is up year over year from where it was many years ago. That's a good sign. That shows that people are still playing with cars, still using cars, still building cars, still doing all the fun things that we do with cars. And with the advent of things like 3D printing and small machine tools, it's easier than ever to build and modify cars in fun ways that we've never been able to do before. Now, 3D printing is pretty mainstream by now, but there's actually some very interesting things. If you have a moderately rare car like that 56 Olds over there, some of those parts can't be had in the aftermarket right now. If you're able to 3D print and make stuff for that thing, you're better off because those parts didn't exist before. And that's something the Gen Z guys are doing better than anyone else. They're innovating. They're making things that didn't exist for cars that are far cooler than, the normal mobiles on the road. But that still opens a loop in the sense that Gen Z is buying some cars that are pretty, unloved. Gone are the days of being able to step into anything from the 60s. Ford, GM, Mopar, they're all priced way out of existence. And the G-bodies, they're really starting to come into their own as far as value. I feel very fortunate to have the ones that I have. So what kind of cars are they getting into? Well, your late 80s, early 90s stuff, the Fox bodies, which are always going to be a popular machine, especially on the race circuit, the third-gen Camaros, the early fourth-gen Camaros, even the 90s OBS Chevy trucks. They're getting the love that they never got. We're also seeing them get into more doors because that's what's available. It's what's around. That 56 is a 4-door. Granted, a 2-door would be way cooler, but you know something? I can't touch the price tag on a 2-door, but I can get my hands on a 4-door. We're seeing other cars that were cast-offs like Ford Fairmonts. I've seen quite a few really fast Ford Fairmont race cars recently, and granted, a lot of them are LS powered, but that doesn't change that these are some of the most unloved cars, especially that history casts aside, that are getting picked up by Gen Z and played with and used. I'm even seeing some of those cast-off mini trucks getting pressed into hot rod service because they're front engine, rear-wheel drive. If we can slide an 8 into them, all the better. So Gen Z is getting into cars, and the answer is cheap and affordable. We can fix the rest of it later. I don't know about you, but I've seen more than my share of weird engine swaps. I saw a DSM put in front of a Power Glide, put into a 9-inch Ford at the back of an Eagle Talon. Whatever, I'll take it. And no matter how we slice it, we're still facing an uphill battle getting Gen Z into cars. At least that's what we're told. There's a whole bunch of things. As an example, I see a lot of Facebook groups where there's Gen Z asking, hey, I don't know anything about this. I don't have any resources. And the old guys are coming back with, well, if you don't know, you shouldn't be touching it. And I'm thinking, that's not constructive to what we're trying to do here. If we want to get new guys in this hobby, we need to bring them into the fold, show them all the cool old tricks, and bring back the true hot rodding spirit. And not only do we have to have the hot rodding spirit, but we have got to put on a show. We look at the events that Gen Z is going to, even the good guys events. We're not walking around the car shows. They're all over on the autocross track. They're out there where the cars are getting run and used. We're seeing the IHRA expanding at a prolific rate. We're seeing the NHRA making a few little moves trying to keep up. And we're also seeing the rise of a handful of outlaw-style bracket race groups. The WDRA, the CDRA. All these groups are trying to get in there, and the answer is simple. We need to put on a show to put people in the stands. And I hear it now. Someone's going to say, but bracket racing is boring. That's because you don't know how to do it. Bracket racing is actually a heck of a lot of fun, represents a solid entry point to get in to use the cars that you have and be competitive. We need to make this more well known about what's going on so that way more people can get into it. We look at the events like the Snowbirds, FL2K, TX2K, the Streetcar Super Nationals, LS Fest. All of these things have a pretty big fan draw because we're playing with unusual cars, we're putting on a show, and there's a lot of stuff going on. And I will openly admit, I'm a bracket guy through and through, but if there was an index race that popped up that I fit into, you bet I'd jump into that. And not only that, we need to make sure that we're continually empowering the next generation to get involved with this stuff. That's how we keep this stuff alive. We need to keep the grumpy old guy mentality out of here. We need to get the new guys in here. You'll see in my videos from time to time, my son is out here while I'm filming. He's building stuff. He's got this 73 Honda SL125. It's a beautiful old bike. He loves that thing. It's not that kids just want to play video games. It's a matter of getting them involved with the right projects. It's the right projects and getting them involved with building, making them better than they were before. Guys like me, guys my age, even a little bit older than me, it is our job to get these guys into the fold and building cool stuff. And that means handing them a grinder, putting them in the garage and say, hey, let's go do this thing. It's fun. And as someone that is neither old guy nor new upcoming guy, I feel like we are the bridge here. We have to make this happen. And that's why one of the things I do on this channel is try and bring you some of these old ways of doing these things and make them better with a modern twist. We need to keep this information alive so we can keep these beauties on the road. I'm just a resource. You guys are the answer. You guys out there building your 90s stuff, your 80s stuff, that OBS Chevy in your driveway, you guys are the ones out there making it happen. You are the new hobby. You are the new face of this hobby. And it is alive and it is well. The solution has moved to some very interesting selections of cars that we may never have picked. But you know something? We need to be there to help figure them out. So what cool car are you working on? And is it cool by today's standards? Or is it one of the unloved ones from years ago? Doesn't matter. I want to hear from you. Drop it in the comments. What's the weird car you're working on that you absolutely love? And if you like this video, check this one out over here. I know you'll like that one too.